Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Canadian Football Central, CFL content for the fans, by the fans. And we have a review coming right up of the East Final. Rick was live in attendance. I was live streaming, and thank you to all who joined in. Also, big thanks to Coach Phil for joining me, as it was me and him that were live streaming that. We're going to have a lot of clips coming out today from that. And, well, Rick, this does not go the way you were hoping, as the Montreal Alouettes defeat the Hamilton Tiger Cats by a score of 19-16, and the Alouettes will win the East and will advance to the 112th Grey Cup in Winnipeg. What is kind of the opening thoughts? Like, kind of like first, lay it out.
Fucking snooze fest. A very snooze fest.
This game took a while to get going. I think by the third and fourth quarter, it really got interesting. And when I say it got interesting, firstly, I wouldn't say as much as this, like, I wouldn't say that this was a boring game to watch. I wouldn't. I would say it was a very defensive.
I will say the first half, there was.
Maybe it's just me. Me and Phil actually quite enjoyed the first half, and I'll tell you why. And it wasn't because there's a difference between a low-scoring game that is sloppy, guys are just dropping balls, it's lazy, it's boring. It's just bad football, and nobody can do anything because nobody knows what to do. The impression that me and Coach Phil had was that it was extremely calculated. This was a game of chess in the first half, and the defense were really perfectly positioning themselves for these plays. And they had really, you can tell that they had studied that film, and they had studied the opposing team's playbook, and that they had really had a grasp on that going in. And kind of the tone that we felt there was is kind of going into the third quarter is that really kind of started to unravel. And teams started getting a little bit more ambitious with their plays until Hamilton tried like a fucking double flea flicker or whatever the hell I watched. And it pops up in the air in a lineman. And all of a sudden Liam Dobson has the ball. It's got to be one of the strangest plays I've ever seen.
I will say.
Do you remember the play I'm talking about?
Yeah, the one where it got tipped and then Liam Dobson caught the ball and then they tried to say.
I'm not going to lie. To me, that screams of a play that looks a lot better in your head than works in practice.
I will say, I'm going to say this, and I'm trying not to be critical of the league.
Mm-hmm.
But for the love of effing God, whoever the official crew for this game was, can we just like give them their walking papers, please?
What do you mean?
Okay, I don't know if you've noticed it, but this was the worst game of officiating I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
Not only did they miss multiple holding penalties, which I don't care less.
Okay.
But for the love of God, how many times and how long do you guys need to get together at the end of each play and sit there and discuss a penalty and fucking waste time when it was clearly a penalty? Like, you don't need to sit there in a group and huddle for like 5-6 minutes on every penalty. If you don't know if it's a penalty or not, you should not be fucking officiating in this league. You either call the penalty or you don't call the penalty. You don't need to be like, it must have happened at least 6-7 times tonight.
That's the interesting thing. Now, this is where I think you being live is really different. I didn't get that impression at all. To be honest, I was fine with the officiating. I didn't think they were perfect, but I certainly didn't think it was that bad. However, you also have to realize at the same time, I'm not seeing them stand around and twiddle thumbs. When they do that, they cut to replays, highlight, you know what I mean? Like when you're watching on the broadcast, there's all this other stuff that's distracting. And it doesn't make you realize sometimes how long some of this deliberation takes. As again, you're in your seat, you're seeing them twiddle their thumbs for about 5 minutes. I'm seeing Milt Stegall talk about some plays, seeing a previous play earlier and how that affects what we're dealing with now. And so that's where I find that a little interesting.
And the other big elephant in the room, Jordan Murray, if your ass isn't cut by tomorrow, it should be.
That had to
Your
be
dumbass penalties that you took that killed our
most
momentum.
undisciplined examples I've ever seen. That was I usually
I honestly
I try
still haven't seen the penalties.
I'm
But
gonna
it's
be
just
I'm
like,
gonna
oh
be
my
honest.
Lord.
I'm going to try. I generally try to avoid being like really laying into a guy, but I really feel that this is that this is valid. That has to be one of the most undisciplined string of penalties I've ever seen in my entire life. Jordan Murray. This is unprovoked. Like, that's the other thing. It's not like somebody hits him in the head and he retaliates this and that. Like, it's just
What even happened?
mind-numbing.
Like, all I
I'll
seen
tell you
was like,
exactly what happened. So,
okay.
Jordan Murray goes for his block. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
He's downfield blocking. He's pushing the guy back, and he's driving him back. The whistle is blown. And the play is clearly dead. Everyone around them has stopped moving. It is clear, extremely clear that the play is done. Now, there's a certain level of kind of a grace period that's given in the sense of kind of almost like a hockey rule. Like you can finish your check sort of a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He drives him another 8 to 10 yards, pushing for multiple seconds after the play is done. Like, this is not just, he went down, he was in the process of pushing him and fell on him as the play was ending. This was not that. Mm-hmm. It was a constant pushing this guy after the play until he falls and he basically squashes him like a fucking bug on the ground. And then he gets up and he's yelling around and he's animated. I don't know what the fuck his problem is. And he pulls his helmet off and he throws it right at the ground and it bounces off the ground like a fucking basketball.
Oh, I've seen that.
So he took 2 penalties. Firstly, he took unnecessary roughness because he pushed the guy 10 yards after the play was dead and then pancaked him. Like, oh, big man on campus, we can hit a guy when the play's not on. Seriously? Like, that's pathetic. That's pathetic, childish bullshit behavior. Like, be disciplined, be better. That's embarrassing. Like, seriously. Like, you don't get away with that in any level of high school. Actually, or at any level of football, sorry. If you do that shit in high school, your ass would not see the field for the rest of the game. I don't even care if they don't have enough O linemen. They'd throw a D lineman out there in high school if you did that. You'd never see the field for the rest of the game. And that's in high school where they're a lot more lenient about things. So he takes unnecessary roughness, 15-yard penalty. He then takes a misconduct penalty for another 10 yards. I'm not gonna lie, he is so lucky he wasn't tossed. And there's two people I blame here. Firstly, I blame him. That was his mistake. The second one, I gotta put some blame on Scott Milanovic, and here's why. He then goes to the bench while they're deliberating this and figuring out exactly what they're going to call him. Milanovic sends him back out there. I don't care if you don't have another O lineman. After that kind of a play, there is nowhere you belong besides the bench. Nowhere. And that was just absolutely ridiculous. Think about it. You got 2 minutes left, okay? Yeah. Like, offensive line blocking schemes, as someone who used to play O-line, it's not that hard. It's like, I shouldn't say it's not that hard. It's not that complicated in the sense of you could throw somebody in there that is another football player who's heard a couple calls here and there, and they would be able to pick it up pretty damn quick. Because in your rush blocking, you just tell them the schemes in terms of either if you're blocking kind of up the left, up the right, and you usually have to do some counting to know, okay, I got number 2 guy in front of me is number 1. This is number 2, outside linebacker on my right. That's my block. Stuff like that. Yeah. Or you do what's called a 2C2, which is where you double team the nose tackle and then your right side guy or your left side, depending on which side way you're blocking, then breaks off and takes the second guy because it's 2C2. And you see the next 2. Yeah. You can explain, like, that's where, like, you can take a D lineman and easily do that. I'm not saying that he should be benched the entire. I'm not even gonna say he should have been benched the entire game because I know realistically, that's probably not going to happen if you don't have an extra O lineman. That's fine. But with 2 minutes left in the half, he shouldn't have seen the field for the rest of the half. He shouldn't have. Absolutely not. And that was just that was
I
not
think
football. That was.
I
I'm
think
not gonna
that
lie. I was embarrassed watching that. I was embarrassed
that was
for him.
I would say that was more of like, and I'm not making excuses for this, but
Yeah.
that whole thing was the TSN turning point because we were on their
Yeah.
29-yard line. We went back 25 yards. Then we went up yards. Then we got another penalty, went back. It's just like that whole chain of events,
Yeah. It
like just
really.
turned the whole game around.
No, I agree. Like, and this is something that I was talking with when this happened. I was ripping into him, and so was Coach Phil. Also, Coach Phil is so happy that we're not on the extremely pessimistic about rules change club. Like, because he's like, what do you think of the rule changes? And I said, I think a lot of people are overreacting. He's like, thank you. He's like, thank God. And I'm like, yeah, no, you're good.
You know what the funny thing is?
But I don't want to, well, yeah, I don't want to
There
get into
was a
that too much.
time. No. I forget which game it was. If it was the first or second game today. There was a time that they went to go throw the ball to the player, and the player was standing behind the goalpost. And had that goalpost have been moved, that would have
Yeah.
been a touchdown.
Yep. Yeah, no, there was one in I think that was the West semifinal, Calgary versus BC.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure that's what happened. But anyways,
So
the thing I wanted
comes,
can I mention the one thing I wanted to mention there just to
sure.
wrap that up. Like me and Coach Villa were talking, and he was like that's embarrassing shit behavior. He should not play the rest of the half. He was flabbergasted when he went back out on the field after, and that Milanovic didn't step in and put a stop to that. You're the head coach. That's your job. I will say. But the other thing we're mentioning is, and this is kind of goes into you talking about the turning point, is if I'm Jason Moss, if I'm the Alouettes, I am on my bench and I'm talking to my guys being like, look at that. Look at that. This team is undisciplined. They can't control themselves. Look what happens when we have success, when we move the ball down the field, when we do what we got to do, it irritates them. It gets under their skin. They can't, they don't know how to control themselves. So we need to lock in. We can't afford to take the stupid penalties that they're taking right now. Because if we play discipline, like that's the thing. The Alouettes didn't even need to play fucking defense there. Because the Ticats drove themselves 25 yards back just by themselves. Like Greg Bell had this wonderful hurdle over a guy and meaningless. Absolutely meaningless. Not even on that. He gets like a 12-yard run and it ends up being a net loss of 13 yards because of a dumb play by Murray. So, yeah. But anyways, what were you going to move on to?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that I mentioned. So I don't know if you guys saw it, but that's almost Kenny Lawler touchdown that happened in the fourth.
Yep.
I don't know what footage TSN showed, but in person you could clearly see that he was pushed. And it should have been pass interference on the 1 yard line. And again, the refs did not call it.
He was pushed there?
The one angle that you could see. Again, I don't know what TSN showed, but where my section was, you could see that he was pushed. Again, not everyone's perfect, but it is what it is.
I did not see that personally, but
there's a couple of other things before we go break down the numbers. Also, the thing that pisses me off is if you win, celebrate with friggin' class and stop acting like, and I don't want to say this word because I've already gotten yelled at on social media for it, but friggin' 2-year-old friggin' children and flipping off fans.
Was this something that happened? The reason why I'm asking is I did not stay tuned in for the post game celebration, just because I only had a little bit of time between the games before the stream, so I didn't.
So basically, what had happened is as soon as Maltos kicked the game-winning field goal, which I'm okay with, I'm not mad at that.
Do you want can I tell you one small thing about that? I'm so happy he hit that field goal. The reason why is because if he missed that field goal and they went to the Grey Cup on a missed field goal rouge, I would have
Oh, we were
actually.
talking about that. Me and Connor
I
were talking
literally
about
am
that.
sitting there being like, oh my God, please don't. Because I knew that this would have been
That would prove
all
the
over.
point.
That would have been all over the. But that is the worst kind of publicity for the CFL. Is when that happened last year. And if this would have happened to go to the Grey Cup, like even like Coach Phil said that made news. Like CFL doesn't make news in the US. It made news for that because of that. So I was so happy that didn't happen.
Because Connor was standing right beside me. He's like, why would you go kick the field goal? Why not just go kick the extra point and just kick it out of the end zone?
Yeah, someone in the chat said to go for a punt, and Coach Phil was like, "Fuck off!" Like, no, that's an embarrassment to the sport.
But anyways, like I was about to say everyone's over here celebrating with the team and everything, which is cool. You know, congrats to them. But then you have two players over on this side at the other end.
Do you know which two players?
No.
Okay.
That are just like taunting fans and friggin' this, that, and the other. I'm like, people, you guys are representing your franchise. You're representing the league. Had some effing class.
Yeah, I will say I understand a little bit if it's during the game, and what I mean by and here's what I mean in the sense of
was the most hated person in Hamilton today. Not gonna lie.
Trust me, I will say, Davis Alexander, great quarterback. Davis Alexander also has one of the most punchable faces in Canadian football. Like,
I will say
he just has that kind of a look to him. I will say, I do understand a little bit of the, Ticat fans are giving it to the Alouettes during the game. And so Alouettes during the game, when they get a touchdown, they're like, oh yeah, you going against us. Look what we did. The sort of thing. Like even Nathan Rourke over in the BC Saskatchewan game had said like it's our time now. It's our time. You know what I mean? Like after he gets the touchdown. But so I understand that. But you're saying that this had extended past the conclusion of the game, and so now that they had won, and so you're saying that it was an unclassy win.
Class and stop being classless professionals that as if you haven't done this before. So before we get into the numbers, so there's a couple of things, two other things that I wanted to discuss. So there's already people on social media calling for Milanovich's head. It's like, people are really. We go to the playoffs once, and you guys are already calling for the guy's head.
I'm
also now Bo does not know if he's coming back or not.
I actually don't blame him for calling for Milanovich's head, not from the sense of that I think he has to get fired, but here's my thing. And this is an observation that Coach Phil made, and I really agree with him here. And it's just about where Hamilton is and the way they play versus their potential. Their potential is a lot higher than the way that they play, even in the regular season. I'll tell you why. Hamilton has a lot of great players. The problem is that they play like 12 great individuals on the field and not one great unit. And that's one of the reasons the Alouettes won this game, is because the Alouettes, even though arguably in some aspects they don't have as much of the star power, the flashiness, talent that Hamilton does, the receivers are in sync with Alexander, who's in sync with that offensive line. Like they're one fluid. You know what I mean? They're one group. And that has been something, and that's not really, as much as it's easy to be like, oh, that's on the players because, they have to figure that out. And to a certain extent, there's some truth to that. But also as a coach, it's your job to bring these guys together. You know what I mean? It's your job to take 12 individuals and make one unit out of that. So that's where I'm not saying that Milanovich needs to go. They won the East with him, so obviously it's not horrible. But I do have that question on if the Ticats are able to get to that next step, simply because it doesn't look like they figured that out. Maybe they're able to figure it out under Milanovic, maybe not.
So
I just
there was
they got to figure
one
it out.
fan, and I'm not going to mention the fan's name
Yep.
because this guy always blows up my DMs with, "Oh, they should play this, they should play that." His thing is, "Oh, they should have played Walterski." But the question is, you
Outcome is the
can't.
exact same if they play Wolotarski. I say that as a big
No,
fan of
but
Wolotarski.
no, but I'm not saying that. What I'm saying
Yep.
is, even if you played Wolotarski, who are you taking out of the lineup to put Wolotarski in is the problem. You're not taking out Lawler. You're not taking out White. You're not taking out Bridges. You're not taking out Keandre Smith. Brandon O'Leary Orange can do the same shit that freaking Wolotarski can. Who are you taking out? You ain't taking out Ternowski because then you have to bring in a Canadian somewhere else. There's no one that you could have taken out to put Wolotarski.
Yeah, I don't think putting Wolotarski in changes anything. I think that that.
The only good thing is that Wolotarski was good for when he was with you guys is the short to medium yardage.
Yeah, he's a possession receiver. He's a guy where if
But
you're on second and long and you need a first down, he'll get it.
But anyway, so going back to the whole Bo thing is, so Bo said in the the post game that he's gonna sit down, talk to his wife, talk to himself. I don't know how you freaking talk to yourself about playing next year, but talk to yourself, talk to the coaches and management, and see where they see next year. But here's the thing that I have with this is Bo. I think if Bo comes back, he is not taking a cap friendly contract. Not after this year.
Especially if he
So it's
wins
like,
MOP.
oh, he ain't winning NLP. I can tell you that right now.
You think Rourke's winning MOP and MOC?
Rourke also had what 7 rushing yards. Like you're not going to give the poster boy of the
Well,
CFL the freaking award.
to be fair though, MOP does not take into account playoffs.
I'm not talking about playoffs.
Oh, you're just talking
I'm
regular
about,
season. Oh yeah, fair enough.
yeah. He also had like 9 rushing touchdowns to go along with how many passing touchdowns.
I see.
Like they're not going to give it to. Again, people are going to make this ratio thing. They're going to give it to a Canadian instead of giving it to an American. But you know what though? You know what would have been, and I'm just saying, if we would have won this game, the last win that Alexander would have been against you guys. His first win of his career was against you guys. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not know that.
But at least we kept him in check.
Yeah. Well, you guys were able to effectively stop a lot of the Alouette offense. I mean, at the end of the day, you gave up less than 20 points. You just couldn't get the offense going.
The other thing that drove me nuts about our offenses, people were wide open on some plays. And I get Kenny Lawler is our top receiver. But for the love of freaking God, can we pass other people than just
Tim White's dropped a pass with Butterfingers today.
No, I get that. But I think if you look at I want to say our first, what was it?
I'll put it this way.
6 and 8 passes, half of them were to Kenny Lawler.
Do you want to know something? Kenny Lawler had the most targets today with 13. Do you know who had the second most and how many they had?
Keandre Smith.
With 5. Less than almost a third. Less than half.
That's what I mean. Spread the ball fucking around.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I thought Shamar Bridges was criminally underutilized in this game.
No, he's been.
I love how technically Liam Dobson has a receiving pass.
He's been underused this whole freaking season. How do you go from almost getting Rookie of the Year and freaking 800 yards this last year to like 300 yards this year? Because
the answer, they stopped throwing to him. Yeah, it's almost like having an MOP running back and not running him. Do you see the problem with this, Rick?
This is why I wish head coaches cannot be offensive coordinators.
Yeah.
Have one hat. That's it. if you're like Ottawa, where you have a guy that wears 3 hats,
Okay, well,
you know, if you can't have a guy
now
wear
that's a
3 hats,
separate problem.
no. But I mean, you shouldn't have a guy. It's not everyone else's problem that you're paying a coach from last year still. Like you
Yeah.
should be able to have one guy wear 1 hat and just be able to do your job.
Yeah. And again, you got to be able to think multiple plays ahead. You can't do that if you're wearing all 3 hats, but we're not going to get too much into that. But
keep in mind, tell me how 2 rookies not only led the team in tackles, one had a sack.
you're talking Braxton Hill and Devin Varasek.
Yes.
Yeah, 12 defensive tackles for Hill.
And also
And
Julian
Varasek
Hauser
had 6
sack
with
too.
a sack. What?
And Julian Hauser had the other sack.
Julian Hauser came on. I'm not gonna lie. He really toned down later. He started this game red hot though. Like Hauser kind of owned that first quarter.
The only thing that drove me nuts about the defensive line in this is the fact that, okay, you got pressure on Alexander to get out of the pocket. The guy had a couple of times. The guy at least had like 6-7 seconds. It's like run at him, put pressure on him, sack him, push him back, whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
Instead of just friggin' letting him run or throw it downfield or whatnot.
Yeah. No, I get that. So, is there anything else that we got to cover here? Because I think we went through most of it. Because I mean we didn't do a rundown of all the stats, but I don't think that has as much value in actually just kind of talking about the feel of the game. You know what I mean? I can't hear you, Rick. One sec. Hold on a sec.
On
I can hear you now.
Okay.
We're good.
I'm surprised. I'm curious to see if Rambo has a concussion wearing that Guardians cap.
Well, it's funny. You know what it made me think of when we did our Lorenzo Burns interview? He said that it was Charleston Rambo who earlier this year just absolutely smoked the uprights in practice. So I'm like, did he run into the uprights again and that's why he's wearing it? I don't know.
And so I don't know if you saw it. I didn't see what play it was. But Alexander did something to his hamstring.
Yeah, I saw the play.
He was not throwing much on.
I saw the play. Do you remember the play or no?
No.
So he had made a pass downfield, and it was actually for Rambo because he got hit and the cap kind of almost sort of came off, and he had to like put it back. And as he was throwing it, he was taking a hit, and so he took a hit, and then before he got up, you could just see him kind of grab his hamstring, like that flamed it up. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so again, this was an instance where clearly his hamstring was hurt going in, and that he had kind of just managed it a bit, and it just kind of flared up. But he's made it very clear that that's going to have no effect on him playing Grey Cup because of course it wouldn't. You know what I mean? He's going to play Grey Cup. There's not a chance in hell he's not playing. Until somebody drags him off the field, he's playing. And so
you know what? If he's dealing with hamstring stuff, that's where you go. You keep on knocking him to the ground until he can't get up.
Yeah. So, is there anything else that we should cover with this game, Rick, or have we pretty much got it? I think we pretty much nailed it. So, yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And then also, make sure you guys join the Discord. Link in the description below, as making a bit of a CFL, NHL sports community over there. And so make sure you guys join it, as we would love to keep the conversation going with you guys. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Peace, love, and positivity to all you wonderful people at home. We will see you guys next time.